Hey, Red Wings fans, I gotta talk to you. I'm upset at the Red Wings, and I know everyone's like, oh my god, like they just came off a 6 game losing streak, like it's fine, like there's 5 losses, but they've dropped like crazy amount in the last 2 weeks, and for me, it goes back to what I was saying at the start of the season, and I'm not mad at Eisman. I guess I'm not. I don't know if I'm mad. I don't know if I'm mad at Eisman. I'm mad at the players. I think I'm mad that you have this one star of Larkin who suddenly the team collapses. And to me, I'm not saying that all those games would have been wins, but to me, I'm a little frustrated because I don't know. Like to me, I already said that, like at the start of the season. Look at my last videos. I'll put them at the bottom. Like I said, they were going to be 7th in the division. I didn't believe in this core. I thought you bring in a bunch of U of A's. You're not bringing in people that are in the organization who are developing in Grand Rapids. And I recognize the NHL is not a development league, but signing all these goddamn free agents was frustrating because I'm like, you're blocking all these kids. So what are you going to do next year? Because when there's no spots, we're already talking about that with Bergen right now. And now he's up. I'm happy now, right? Because they traded Klim. But again, if Larkin wasn't out, he'd still be down in the AHL. And I'm glad he's gonna be out for the rest of the season. That's great. Why you bring your rookies up? You've had Sider and Raymond up, and as rookies, phenomenal, great. But the goal is you slowly integrate people into your system, your team. And you can't have so many rookies that are going to be breaking through, right? Like Mazur's looking good, probably not there yet. Casper's looking good. Berggren deserves a spot in this team. Evanson, before he got hurt, deserved a spot in this team. And same with Alfred Johansson. Eisman talked about bringing him up last year. He said him over Edvinsson. So to me, I think it's kind of bullshit. Because now next year, what are you going to do? You're going to bring up 3 rookies? No, it doesn't make sense. So now what's going to happen with Alfred or Johansson? Like he's going to stay down in the AHL, probably have a similar frustrations to Berggren because he's outplaying his skill level. And now there's already talks about Berggren being traded. I'm not saying he's going to get traded, but you have frustration and you're overripening things. It's the same goddamn thing that Ken Holland did. You have guys in there for too long, but again, I understand like you don't want to stunt a player's growth, right? Like I understand like Rasmussen was probably brought up a little earlier than anticipated, but to me, I'm just a little frustrated because I don't know what the plan is. And that's my issue is that you wanted to go for playoffs, but you saw all the cheap depth that was going for. Like Zucker from Arizona went for a 6th round pick. You know who had cap space? The Red Wings. Do you know like Dumba as well? Like these the Red Wings had Stetcher. So to me, you say one thing, Eisman says one thing and says, hey, I wanted them to go for the playoffs. They want to go for the playoffs. Great, awesome. Then secure the team, right? Like get him in a position where get him like some pieces, right? Because to me, there were so many ups and downs. This team was so hot and cold throughout the year, and clearly they're really hot. They're just on a 6-game winning streak, and now they're on a 5-game losing streak. 5-game losing streak, and I have a hard time that like maybe you don't mess with chemistry. I don't like bring a guy in that can boost the team. To me, you're not taking yourself seriously. And again, I'm not saying, hey, go drop a 1st-round pick on a Rendell. That's not what I'm saying at all. I mean, if you're gonna drop a 1st-round pick, do something like you did with Alex DeBrincat, right? Where you know you're gonna sign him to a deal, or he's got another year left. Like I get that. Like Vetrano was an option. I know they talked about bringing Brian Rust in, but that's like a veteran that I don't need in the team. Like you want people that are going to be up and have the leadership that this team needs. You bring in guys like Kopp as a veteran leader, right? You bring in someone like Comfer as a Stanley Cup champion leader. Why aren't they leading? Perron has been the guy. He's been the veteran. He's the oldest guy in the team. Stanley Cup winner. Supposed to be a leader. Sherratt. Supposed to be a leader. Where is the goddamn leadership here? Because I'm getting pretty pissed off. If we're looking at these, like I'm looking at the standings now. Like you were in a first place wild card spot. Like it was like 4 days ago. Like it happened out of nowhere. Boom, your lead, 8 points gone. You had an 8-point lead, and now look at the Islanders, right? Who are in a better point percentage than you because they have a game in hand. And do you know who's also sniffing at your heels? Washington. They got 2 games in hand. They're 3 points behind. They win both of those. They're ahead of you. Boom, immediately. So, like, to me, again, if Flyers drop out, well, then the Islanders move up, and the Flyers drop down to that second place wild card, and they're still playing very well, even though John Tortorella, and they're going to play even better because John Tortorella got kicked out. He got kicked out for 2 games. You think it's going to fire up the Philly fan base? These teams going to go hot. I don't care if they sold. They're going to be hot now. And they made moves and they brought in people. Like, they went out and they picked up Eric Johnson from the Buffalo Sabres. That leader won the Stanley Cup. Take your freaking balls and put them on the ice. Say, hey, we're moving and shaking. We need to do something. Look at the last, and this is more of a progression of where I'm very skeptical of what the Red Wings are going to be able to do over the next 18 games. 18 games. I written down 18 next games they have left in the season. They have 7 games against playoff teams, legit in the playoff. Right here, I'll pull the schedule right here. So right here, you have New York, a playoff team that just took your spot. You have Nashville, who sold and bought, made moves, right? Like, made moves to make their team better. Like, not for next year, because I know you moved Klim Kostin, and you brought in Radim Shemek from the San Jose Sharks and a 7th-round pick. Like, whatever. Like, that's next year's problem. But I'm talking about this year. Like, if you aren't going to be serious, you bring in you spend all this money on free agents, and you try and shake up the chemistry, like, then bring that same energy, right? Like, bring that same, like, okay, we're going to go out and do something, right? Like, I kind of, like, with how cheap all the prices were, like, send out a 3rd-round pick. Like, I'm not really worried about 3rd-round pick at this point. Like, it sounds stupid, but, like, there's so many players that could have been brought. Like, that's my issue, is that there's, like, so many. Like, even, like, if you talk about, like, Alex Wenberg, I don't know, he's not much, right? He went for a 2nd and a 4th, right? Like, he's a center. Like, what are you doing? Like, not necessarily I want him, but, like, there's options to be done here. There's things to be done here. And so you have Nashville. Again, Nashville. You have Washington, who is again, better points percentage than the Red Wings right now. On your freaking heels, you have Carolina, who bought like crazy. Probably the biggest buyer of all the Eastern Conference is them with Gensel and Kuznetsov. Like, they're big buyers, right? Florida, powerhouse, who pumped you, kicked your teeth on the curb. Then you have Tampa Bay. Like, Tampa Bay has been good for a while, right? A couple Stanley Cups. Like, you think they're not gonna take you seriously? Like, they're now calling for their wild card spot too. Like, they're gonna be fighting as well. You have New York. They bought, right? Brought in Alex Wenberg, right? They were in on a lot of deals. They were in on Gensel. Like, to me, like, they're taking this seriously. You guys like Zibanejad, Panarin's putting up 1.2 points per game. Like, what are we doing here, right? Buffalo again, whatever. Washington again, fighting for that spot, looking to take you and knock you down a peg. Pittsburgh, they're rough, right? But it's still Crosby, right? Crosby still always has a fire under his ass, so you can't not take them seriously. Toronto might be scratching guys. You might get lucky in this one. And Montreal has had your number. Montreal has to me, and I don't know if it feels this way. Like, I don't even know what the record is between Montreal and the Red Wings, since they both kind of had their start of the rebuilds. But it feels like the Red Wings are under 500 for them. It just feels that way. And maybe I'm wrong, but to me, Montreal is a great team, and very good team, and they have the chemistry, they have the zhizh, right? Like whatever their coach, whatever St. Louis is doing, it's working, right? He turned Caulfield on, couldn't score with a lick. Then he was at a 40-goal pace, like, at one point. Like, what's happening? And again, there's no superstars on Montreal, like, but I still think they could beat them. Like, so you're telling me you're gonna have to go 500. Like, if you lose to all the people that are in the playoffs, right? In the playoffs and fighting for your playoff spot, you got to go 500 against every team that's not in the playoffs. That's for sure not in the playoffs, right? You're looking at, like, Buffalo, Arizona, right? If you go 500 and you go to their standings right now, right? Right, everyone's at 74 points. You win half those games, that's 18 points. puts you at 90. 90's not going to cut it. They have to go. They have to be above 500 by 2, honestly, probably 3 games to be in the playoffs. And I know a lot of people are like, hey, that wasn't the goal. The goal was to be playoffs-ish, right? Like fighting for the playoffs at the end. And again, if Eisman, I disagree with Eisman going all in. It is, but as a fan, I have to be like, okay, well, he's going all in. That's the plan now. If that's the plan, go with it. Go into it, right? I don't waste a 4th round pick, waste a 3rd round pick. Like, make us fans feel that you had confidence in it, right? Like someone like the Islanders who are bogged down with a bunch of 8-year contracts didn't do anything in the playoff at the deadline, right? Didn't do anything. LA didn't do anything, but they have some really good players on there. So, and they were definitely trying to make moves. Like, and I understand, like, Eisner probably tried to make moves, but to me, it didn't feel like it. Like, it didn't feel like there was a care to do big moves. And that's a huge issue right now. Now I'm looking, again, talking about momentum right now. My issue is the momentum is that the team doesn't feel like not that they don't want to win, but they're just like, the effort's not there right now. Looking at teams and where they're at, right? I mean, you have the Carolinas and above right here. They're way out of your league, right? But like Islanders, 6-game winning streak. They're 7-2 in their last 10. Like Tampa, you have an idea. You might be able to get them out, but then you have to be out Vasilevsky. Like tough Vasilevsky, and you have Kucherov, who's probably going to win the Hart this year. Again, Red Wings, 5-game losing streak. They're 500 in the last 10 games. Okay, that's not what teams that are trying to go for the playoffs do in their last 10 games. Washington Capitals, 7-2. You think you're going to lose momentum? Like, that's momentum right there, right? And they're at negative 24 goal differential, and they're still beating you in percentage, like points percentage. So I don't know. I just don't have confidence. And I said this since the start. I've said it to my wife. I've said it to people. I'm like, people are like, oh man, I really hope Red Wings do playoffs. I'm like, why? Why do you wish they make the playoffs? This wasn't the year. To me, they needed to be bad one more year. Like just one more year. Because you know what happens when you go into a rebuild is you can't come back out of it until you do another rebuild. These retools, they suck. And I don't know if they ever, to me, they don't work well enough. Like, I like what St. Louis did last year. They had 3 first-round picks last year and one of the best drafts. Okay, I like that. That's a great idea. It doesn't usually work. What Pittsburgh's trying to do, you could see they sold off on Gensel. They got a bunch of pieces, but they're not the star qualities, right? When you look at teams that have won the Stanley Cup, they have star power, right? And I would say the only ones that I could think of memory right now, in the last like 20-ish years, Carolina and the Blues, and really that's kind of what the Red Wings are positioned for. Is that like I would have rather them gone and been bad again. Like you sign Larkin to the deal, but you be bad one more year because then you can really you start bringing like imagine this year like they had brought in Edvinsson, they had brought in Berggren, right? Because they didn't sign all these free agents. They're like, hey, we're building the chemistry. We're building them all together. And you want the guys to play together. So now you have these guys coming in for the next year. They're gonna be coming in next year cold-ish, right? On chemistry-wise, they've like Edvinsson's never played with Seider. Like Berggren had a lot of experience. I'll give you that with the club last year. But like he wasn't playing like top line minutes. He should be on the second line, in my opinion. Like second line and second power play. Maybe first, right? So there's just a lot of like I'm unsure. And to me, I watched the press conference of Eisman, and it didn't feel very secure. And again, I think we know he's a competitive guy, so maybe he's got the same frustrations. And maybe to me, I would have sold. On Sprong's going to cost too much to re-sign him. He's going to want $4 million over like he's 27. He's probably going to want 4 over 5 years, right? Like. Because he's making $2 million right now. He's playing really well in a depth role. Perron, it would have gotten you a second-round pick, right? Like, that's my issue is pick a direction. You didn't do anything. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Christian Fisher's fine. But bring in, someone that can play the second line. I don't know, third. I don't know. Maybe he tried. Again, maybe he tried. Again, it doesn't feel that way. And as a frustrated fan, I just want to know. I want to know the direction. I want to know, hey, okay, yep, we are definitely going to the playoffs. And I think that's the goal. But like, and I'm not saying because Larkin's gone, you go and try and sign like a 1C or a 2C, right? Like for a rental. Again, it's just a feeling. It's like the gut feeling. When I watched the games with my wife, we watched, let's see what we, I'm going to go to the schedule real quick. I think I had it up here. Yeah, so we had the schedule. So this, I'm looking at the last win streak. Let's go. So they went on the East Coast trip, lost to Oilers. They're phenomenal. They're a great team. Lost to the Canucks. Phenomenal team. Great team, right? Calgary, they won handily. Great win. Loved watching it. Seattle Kraken, a team that's teetering. I don't even think they're in the playoff race. If we go to them, they're in it. They're in it. No, they're not. Never mind. 75 points for the Los Angeles Kings, 85 for Colorado. They may push out. No, they're not going to push them out. They're done. They're done. So, and they sold, right? They sold on Lundberg. So they couldn't re-sign him, right? You won over Colorado in OT. You won over Colorado, but it was overtime. Overtimes are, to me, it's a tie. An overtime win doesn't count the same as a regulation win, right? Because there is no overtime in playoffs. You don't go through. There's no 3-on-3 in the playoffs. It's a tie. I'll give you the tie. St. Louis, again, a team rebuilding. You beat them, but they're decent. They have some good pieces. But that was a pretty good win right there, right? You go to overtime over Chicago. They have one good player. Taylor Hall's injured. I think Athanasiou is injured. Like, you're versing Seth Jones and Peter Mrazek, and I think they actually versed their backup goalie in this one. So I'll give it to you. It was a back-to-back. But to me, I did like the Canes played spoiler. But you tied a team that's if you go to the standings, right? We're going to go to the standings. We're going to go all standings, right? We're going to say, hey, where did let's go expanded. I don't know. Oh, league. Here we go. So standings, league. Where does Chicago fall? Dead freaking last. They were officially eliminated from the playoffs this week. Like, that's how bad they are. Definitely the worst. Best odds in the playoffs or in the for the Macklin Celebrini. And so you go to their schedule again, right? Handily beat Washington. I hope they continue to. And the thing is Washington actually, they sold, right? Washington sold on Edmondson. They moved out. I mean, they didn't have Kuznetsov, but they moved him as well. Like, Edmondson is not really your big mover and shaker, but they re-signed Sandin. You think he's not going to be geeked about that? And then you lose the Islanders. That's a 4-point difference. If you don't understand what that means, 4-point difference is if the Red Wings had won, they bump up 2, and that allows the New York Islanders, like let's say the Islanders are at 4 points and the Red Wings are at 8. Let's just make numbers easy. If the Islanders, so there's a point difference right there, right? If the Islanders won, the Red Wings would still be at 8, Islanders would be at 6. So that's a 2-point difference now, right? But if the Red Wings had won, they would have been 10-4, right? So that's that 4-point difference right there. Is that the Islanders, like, you need to beat them. You need to keep down the competition. Moving on to March, real quick. Piss poor game. Hated watching it. Sucked. Did not like watching it. It just sucked. Then you got some time off and everything. Great, awesome. You lose to the Avalanche. Respectable. You can lose to the Avalanche. Again, we talked about it earlier. It was basically a tie. They stole a point in overtime for them. But basically, like, you got your ass handed to you. I don't fault you for Florida. Effort was low on Florida's my issue. The Avalanche one, like, again, it's a away game. I'll give you that. But to me, like, it's the Avalanche. I'll give it to you. The Arizona Coyotes, get your ass up. What are you doing? You're versing the Arizona Coyotes again. Let's go back to the standings. Let's do what we did with Chicago, huh? Let's see. Where are they? Oh, yeah, they're 2, 4, 6 from the bottom. Oh, wow. They're 26 in the league. 26. Get out of here. Get out of here. And again, that was an effort. That was an effort thing. First period. Oh, actually, that whole game felt effortless. Vegas, they had a bad start. Weird. The Red Wings starting cold. To me, like that's a reoccurring problem, like we've been talking about. And Vegas, you lost. Totally get. I understand that. But to me, some of these you start stealing wins. You have to start, and the effort should be we are a playoff team. It's a mentality thing. You are a playoff team, and I know Joey Poison's playing up on the first line. Comfort played up on last time, but to me, these should be Buffalo, Arizona, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Columbus. I see a 5-game winning streak. I see it because it can happen. And it not only can it happen, it needs to happen. So I'm expecting them to be better because I have high expectations. If you're gonna take yourself seriously as a playoff teams take themselves seriously. Florida doesn't take days off. The Avalanche, they don't take days off. You think Nathan McKinnon does? You think they don't take days off? The Avalanche are without their captain. Imagine if they had their captain Landeskog back, who hasn't played in over a year, like since his win with the Stanley Cup. So to me, like that is heart, and this team right now is missing heart, and that's my issue right now. It doesn't feel good. I don't feel comfort in this team. I don't feel that this is the best they have to offer. I have a lot of opinions about what's going to happen in the offseason. I'm definitely going to do a video because to me, they're going to miss the playoffs. I just don't have confidence. And it feels dramatic. And I'm not doing it to be hyperbolic, whatever the word is. I'm not doing this to speak negativity. I'm not saying this because I'm putting money on it. I'm saying it because it doesn't feel like they want to win. The effort needs to be there game in and game out. It needs to be there in practice. They're running line. They're ringing everything they can on the line, which they did to Husso last year because their goaltenders out working. But to me, like I don't know, like bring Kosa up for a day. Like, hey, like have some fun. Like I don't know, can they fit on the roster? Like have a little fun. Like you moved out Costin, Larkin's on the IR. So you now have a spot in the roster. Bring up Kosa just for shits and giggles. Like, mix it up. Have some fun. Like, and what I did hear is that they did stay an extra day in Vegas. Did they earn it? No, but hopefully the boys, I think they were leaving the 11th for Buffalo, so they get some time. I hope that they actually enjoyed their vacation or their little times off. They got to spend some time out in the warm weather. They got to maybe gamble a little bit, like just kind of relax and take the breaks off, like because they need to. It's like when you're trying too hard and you're gripping your stick too hard, or you want to hit this jump so bad because you're snowboarding or whatever. You're doing something too hard, like you lose the focus, and to me, you're not having fun anymore. Maybe that's it. Maybe the guys aren't just having fun, and so to me, like, go have fun, tear up Buffalo, have fun, like just. But, like, give me the confidence that you want to be here. Like, I want you to say, this is our game. We're taking out Buffalo because we're going to... And lay your stamp on them now before they get really good. I don't know if you know this. They have 2 first overall draft picks, right? And they took their second overall draft guy, Jack Eichel, and they felt him for a bunch of good picks, too. Alex Tuch's looking phenomenal, right? So, and as a team, and Buffalo, another team that they sold their captain. They sold on Eric Johnson, their veteran. Guys, just do something. Give me hope. I'm still going to cheer for you. I'm not leaving you. I live in Detroit. I'm not leaving you. I've been a fan of the Red Wings for a long time. Again, I'm not doing this to be dramatic. I genuinely have these feelings. And I'm not trying to be crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. But I've been saying it from the start of the year. I just don't know if this is going to work. And I mean, I could have lots of discussions about the contracts that I've been signed. But to me, like, I'm really curious. I think Eisman's got to make some big swings this year because he's up. Not this year because the trade deadline's over. This summer, he's got to make a lot of big moves because he has to show that he's serious about believing in this team and recognize. And I know he had to do a ton of work. Holland left him with no prospects besides Larkin, Rasmussen, and Zadina. And Zadina didn't work out. Raz is finally coming to his own. And Larkin is better than expected, which is great. We love that. And you're restocking, and I get that. If you're restocking the cupboards, you got to use what's in the cupboards. You can't just let everything sit at the bottom of the freezer and wait 6 months, right? Or in this case, a couple of years, because some of these guys deserve. These guys need an opportunity to prove themselves in the NHL and get acclimated to the systems. And I know they got a new coach down in GR to try and help with that. But I want to feel better about this team. And I don't know if they're capable of doing that. And by feeling better means, honestly, if they beat every team, if they go 500 and they beat every team, if they go 500, I don't know if I'd be happy. I don't think I'd be happy because you have confidence in this group. And I didn't have confidence in this group. But I would be happy that they made progress. And I am happy they made progress. But you bought a bunch of guys to make progress. It's expensive. It costs you, like Justin Hall costs you a lot of money. It costs you a year longer than you wanted, and it costs you $1 million more a year than you wanted. Comfer, same thing. Comfer was actually a pretty good deal. I don't mind Comfer's deal. I think he'll end up fizzling out as a third line center once Casper gets up. But that's me, or Danielson. Cop, first year I'll give it to you. He had that core surgery. I'll give you that. This year I just need more. You are the second highest paid center on this league or on this team, and you're playing third line. Act your wage, as Dave Ramsey would say. You are paid this. You should act this. You should be better. And so, anyways, that's my rant. Let me know what your thoughts are. I swear I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm not trying to do this for clicks and views. I genuinely have these feelings, and I need someone to talk to about this because I'm losing my mind. So, anyways, I love you guys. Hit like, subscribe if you like this. I love the Red Wings a ton. They're my favorite team. I'm so happy to come out of this rebuild, but like to me, I just have such high expectations. I want another goddamn Stanley Cup. And I just want to make sure that the team is built right for it. So hit like, subscribe, or leave a shitty comment just so I know your feelings as well. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the crazy one, and that's okay. I'm okay with it. Again, I've been saying this since, I had them projected as 7th in the division. I was way off there. They're 5th in the division, right? No, I think they're even 4th maybe. Go to division. Yeah, I think they're 4th, right? Because, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. They're 5th. They're 5th in the division. And I expected Buffalo to be better, and I expected Ottawa to be better. We all expected Ottawa to be better, but again, let me know what your thoughts are. Hit like, subscribe, or don't. Like I said, but this is the feelings that a Red Wings fan has. I just have a lot of feelings, and I thank you if you stuck around. Thank you for listening. I love you. See you in the next one.